Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I am Hanyo, your Demon Cinephile, and it is finally here, the first Omen. I've been reviewing all the Omen movies leading up to this. I might post this before posting the review of the remake because editing down that reviews taking a bit because of I I kind of babbled a bit in that one, and it kind of went on for too long. But enough about that. That movie kind of sucked. But this movie, the first Omen, I was kind of worried about this. I was hearing nothing but good things, but you know, you always kind of worry because prequels are always a bit iffy, and then there's also the expectations. But I have to inform that this is the first time that all my expectations were actually really met. This was a fantastic film and just a fantastic feast for the eye, fantastic fright fest. Just I love this movie. I love this movie. But the first Omen, what is this movie about? Well, if you can't tell, this is a prequel to the very first Omen movie. This film takes place in 1971, where you follow a young up and coming nun as she starts to experience weird ongoings in her group, strange phenomenons in Rome that might lead up to the birth of the Antichrist. And that's probably all I really want to say for now. I don't really want to spoil this movie. I spoil the films and the other reviews because they're old movies. They're old movies. You probably should have seen it by now. I should have seen it by now, but that's no excuse. But really, go check this one out. Go see this as blind as possible. This was a great film. If there's some negative, there is. The kills in the movies are not original. All the three deaths in the movies are recreations of the deaths in the first film. They're all twists and turns on them. Like the third one, it involves a car in it. I couldn't tell at first that it was actually a twist off the photographer's deaths, the photographer death in the first movie. But when I started thinking about like, oh god, that's really it is, and that was actually one of the more freaky deaths. It's kind of funny when you kind of think about it because I think some people in the theater were laughing, but when you start thinking about like when is this happening, when I was experiencing it and it's happening to film, when she does what she does to him, and it's good God, it's not very gory, but just right amount of gore. And speaking of gore, there's not a lot of gore in the movie, but you know what is gory though? The practical effects. I don't think there is a bit of CG in this film whatsoever. Even though that fire effect in the movie, that fire effect is very much a real effect and it's crazy. Actually, no, I think there is some CG in the film, but it's very, very, it's very well little used. So when it does show up, it actually has some kind of an uncanny valley effect. I'm probably not using that word right, but it makes it feel more weird. It makes it feel more unnatural, like something is coming into our world that probably shouldn't be. The scares in the film are not modern day scares. There are a few jump scares in the film, but I would say they're actually good jump scares. They're not fake jump scares like, oh, you're focusing on something and then they touch your shoulder and there's a big loud noise. Oh, there actually is one kind of like that, but it's no big loud noise. But yeah, there's no big loud noise to disrupt the tone. That's a good way to use this describe the movie is tone. It has a consistent tone throughout the film, and that tone is complete and utter dread and pain. Like you were just waiting for something awful to happen. This film feels like just the combination of something painful and nasty to come into view. I guess is the best way to put it. And for acting in the film, I want to say all of the actors do a fantastic job in the movie. The main character is played by Neil Tiger Free. All right, that's a cool name. Yeah, she is really great in this movie. It's, she's an English actress. I've never seen her before, and she carries the film throughout, especially because a lot of times in the during the feature, you don't really know you're supposed to be on her side. Not really know you're supposed to believe everything that she's seeing and hearing. And because you're presented early on that she is quite unstable. The only bad thing about the casting is that we have Bill Nighy and Charles Dance in the film, but they don't do a lot, which is kind of bad, but where they're on screen, to kill it. We have Ralph Ineson, I think I'm pronouncing that right, as Father Brennan. So, if you don't know, Father Brennan is one of the main characters in the first movie. He is the priest who tries to warn Mr. Thorne of Damien in the original film. He's the one who gets impaled at the church, and I like him. He does a good job at mimicking the original actor before he goes all crazy. But then again, you're kind of seeing a different version of the character. Like I said, he's not as wild and matic as trying to convince people of the Antichrist is coming. He's a lot more reserved. So while it's nice seeing a different version of his character, he also feels kind of different. So, and kind of a mixed bag there. Going back to Neil Tiger Free, she really does do a great job with just convincing you of how out of her mind she is the later half in the film. Like there's this part you kind of see a bit in the trailer where she gets lost in this protest, and we bit spoiler, but we get pulled out of that and we get to see what everybody else is seeing, and we get to see mostly just her, and she is acting all by herself, and it is so freaking haunting, so terrifying. How does how she can just act just like that's all by herself, and how terrified the look on her face is. Another standout moment this is very near into the film, right before the birth of the Antichrist, the birth of Damien. Good, Damien does make an appearance. Spoiler alert, I know. There is a very weird reference to this film, and I kind of heard about this. Is a reference, a very obvious reference to 1981's Possession. Now, if you don't watch 1981's Possession, it's this German British film, I think. I watched it like a few times. I was gonna do a review for the channel, but the movie just freaked me out. I wasn't really sure how to talk about it. And that movie is very, very odd and bizarre, especially with his body horror. There's this one scene in that film where one of the main actors, she has to act all by herself, and she's acting well possessed, and the amount of physical things she has, the physicality she has to do all by herself, how she has to convey all these body tremors, these body horror, and it's just weird, shocking, just repulsive. It is horrifying. Just the tremors of how she gets her body to shake and revolt, and they do a reference to that in here. It's a very obvious reference if you've seen Possession, especially when she starts vomiting the milky white substance, which is just God got me feeling sick in the theater. But yeah, the first Omen, this was just a fantastic film. I did not expect this to be that good. I mean, I was expecting to like it, but I was expecting this to be so far contender one of my favorite movies of the year, and definitely one of the best films in this franchise. I wasn't sure I was gonna do a ranking of these movies, but I might do a ranking just because of how great this movie was. But yeah, the first Omen. What do you think about it? Do you like this movie? Do you hate this movie? Let me know in the comments down below. Hey, like and subscribe if you want to see more. I might do a ranking of these films after I get the remake video out. Not sure. That might come out sometime next week. But if you want to see that, please put it on the comments. Spam it in the comments. I want to hear it. Till then, see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye. Bye. Stop recording. Stop recording. OBS, stop.